it's fine.
For the two people.
The camera is very zoomed out.
Okay. The two people.
I don't draw. Angelica, before we start, if we all.
Exactly.
If we all gather around then, can we get a quick picture? Angelica, can you take it before we
Of
start?
course.
Do that. Okay, everybody gather right around Lynn and Allison.
Oh,
Quick
I was gonna stand up around Lynn. I feel like usually you want to sit down.
Oh, I mean, I just want
Just one little picture.
Okay.
I'm getting called to be
Okay,
up
so
front.
she says she's over there. That's what
Oh, that
that's
one.
what
Oh.
You're short.
You're like, how are you? There we go. I just didn't want to stand in front of anybody.
All right, you ready? Say Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, y'all.
One with each hand. Technique I have not seen.
Thank you. It's the last one.
Just 30 seconds. Starting Lisa.
Gotta get ready for her. I'm on over there, ma'am.
Good afternoon. It's just great to see all of you here this afternoon. I think maybe this is the best attended board meeting we've had in a couple of months. Great to see you. I know everybody knows who's here, but since this young man has his mouth full, we're going to start with him. So we could just quickly remind folks who we are. This is, of course, the Recreation Services Advisory Board, and we're happy to be together on this cold, rainy day. And we're going to start with this handsome young man.
Now that my mouth isn't full, Max Stanley, Program Coordinator for Montgomery County.
Great, and Derek?
My name is Derek Turner.
Tess Williams.
Allie Howell.
Ann Babcock. Carol Peterson.
Lena Richards.
And I'll stop right, we are all advisory board members. These other people are the smart people in the room. Allison.
Allison Danes, Montgomery County Parks and Recreation Director.
Lynn Pegg, Montgomery County Parks and Recreation.
Adam Zeke, also, Parks and Recreation.
And really, we are just so pleased to be together, and it's good to see each one of you. Thank you for the work that you do and on behalf of this department. So very, very important. We appreciate it. I personally am really excited about the agenda items that we see today, because I think a lot of good information is going to flow from the people who staff the department and also the comments from the advisory. So this is really exciting. So let's please give our attention to Ms. Allison, our pretty new director, but who has hit the ground running with all of the feet. Really going, we appreciate it, but some really great things. Allison, I will not call these items up individually. If you will just go ahead with your report, we all have an agenda. And if you have a question, please don't hesitate to ask as we go along. I think it's really important that we understand as we go along. So Allison, thank you.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. And I just want to echo really being appreciative of everyone being here and being a part of this. We're very excited. It's an exciting time right now with the passage of the bond and a lot of exciting projects that we have going on internally and new hires. And so we're just really appreciative of your time and your support and your guidance as well. So I just wanted to start with that. I wanted to let you know, we have had vacancies for a few of them for over a year now. We are in the process of hiring a principal planner. An offer has been made and accepted. And so we're just waiting for the final sign on the dotted line for that. And that person will begin in January. And once we have all of the official for that, I'll be sure to send that out to everyone so that you do know we will have that principal planner coming in January. We have hired a new position, kind of our all parks ranger. So many of you know, we have rangers that are stationed located out at Lake Julian. We have hired a ranger whose job is to go from different park to different park, ensuring safety and being there for the patrons that are there. And so that person is Colton Johnson. He began with us about a month ago or so. And he's being really well received, meeting a lot of people in the community that are using our parks, helping keep them a little bit cleaner, a little bit of maintenance. And so it's been working out really, really great. It's totally been traveling as a community liaison to keep an eye on those unstaffed parks. And so it's been well received.
Is he a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, or is it weekend?
Definitely not. He is shifted. So he works evenings, days, and weekends. And so he's got a roving kind of schedule so that it's not set. Yeah. And we'll be looking to continue those types of expansions in staffing to ensure that our parks are really well supervised and cared for. There's 2 additional positions that'll be filled in the beginning of the year. We'll be looking to get those, but one of them is a recreation planner. And so we have the principal planner. We previously had 3 planners. So this will be a recreation planner that'll be working up underneath, because we've got so many projects that are going on, not only in greenways, but also large projects such as the ones that you'll hear about today at the Buncombe County Sports Complex with the turfing project. Hopefully you had the opportunity to drive by and see that beautiful green turf from the drive-in. So that was really great. And did want to let you know that we're in budget process right now. And as part of our budget process, we are submitting for several new positions, of which one of them would be a community outreach. And so we'll see how that looks, but really looking to meet our strategic goals of, resident well-being and expanding recreational assets and well-being. And so really looking at creative ways that we can get out into the community in some of those rural and underserved areas to do some programming and give some support. So that's kind of high level where we are with those projects. We're in the process of finalizing our capital investments projects for next fiscal year. Those are due this week. And so we'll be submitting for some of those large capital projects. And we will let you know as soon as we hear back what gets approved, so that you can have an active part of what those are. And in the future, we'll be coming with you all to talk about projects that we would like to see and get kind of input about your thought about where we are with them and what we need to prioritize as an organization.
Are you looking at increasing the budget or status quo?
We're looking at a slight increase based on some of the positions that we're asking for, as well as some of the projects that we're so far. And I would say that one of those is really looking at Owen Park and doing some resurfacing out there, giving Owen Park a little bit of TLC. Any other questions about that process?
Of course, all that is such a long process. You have to have things in the pipeline, as you all know. Years, there has to be some great planning that goes into this. And just tickle it into the process and get things moving. So it's nothing's instant. So thinking ahead is the name of the game.
Right. And to that point, in January, we'll be putting out an RFP or a request for proposal for someone to come in and do a master plan for the Parks and Recreation Department that has been approved. And so we will put that out in January. And that'll be looking at gaps in services, current services, things like ADA, greenways, and park improvements. And so that will help dovetail very nicely with the overall comprehensive plan for the county. So that's another thing that's coming up in January. And as we go through that process, again, we'll be sure to come back with you when we've got different proposals for that task. The last thing that I have is most folks have reapplied for the position here on the board because applications did need to be reset and redone. We will still have a few positions on the board that are available. And so we're going to assess exactly where those locations are so that we could target, because we did advertise and I don't think we got a response back. So we're going to re-advertise, do a little bit more targeting now that we've got folks that are currently here re-upped. And so then we can ensure that we've got representation from each of the districts within the county. And so that is the goal. And once we re-advertise that, we're hoping to bring that to commission in January for final approval of board members.
One thing that I might suggest you do, since working in these districts is very recent situation with some of the folks that just got reelected or elected. You might reach out to the commissioners who are in those districts and say, is there someone who approached you during the election season who seemed very interested in recreational parks and rec, and you know, they should have their finger on or their pulse out who's in that district. So if we lack somebody in District 3, folks who represent those two people who represent District 3, and with the chairman chiming in, might have some good recommendations to approach.
Sounds great. Thank you. I would definitely do that. Are there any other questions or comments? Thank you.
Great. Okay. Budget update.
Well, Allison already did cover most of our points, but we've just started our budgeting process for this year. It seems like we spend the whole year discussing the budget for the next year.
Finish one, get approved, start them.
But so far we have requested 2 new positions, as Allison touched on. One will be a new ranger, just like Colton Johnson, our new hire, which she had just described as, you know, being a shift person, you know, weekends, this and that. So we'll have a second person occupying the same role. So we'll have more coverage through more of our parks at, you know, hopefully as we go forward, you know, at all times. So we'll be able to find a ranger somewhere, and we'll have much more of a presence, as well as someone who's specialized in community outreach and programming. And to go alongside that request, we also have requested a new vehicle, we call it a core van for community outreach, where it will be you know, a large vehicle filled with fun items for programming, so that we can address a lot of the communities that we don't get to very often. Because a lot of our events, you know, are at parks that we control, so they're in very, you know, few localized areas. So this person is going to a lot of their job is going to be getting programming to underserved communities. That'll be their large focus. That, and also working with our community centers, which historically we have kind of moved away from, you know, being involved with our community centers, which is something we don't think was a good idea. We're going to try to get back in touch with them.
So you're going to have a rolling community center.
Yeah.
That is the hope. I mean, 'cause right now there are some that are Buncombe County owned, but they're.
That is really exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, rolling community center.
Will it have a wrap on the outside? So
Yeah.
Rapid.
And
I
the
love
thing
it.
is that it'll be known as the core van, community outreach and recreation experiences. And so it'll be core programming in communities.
I love it. I love it. Not to bring a personal experience in here, but you all know I always will. Might as well. My sister, Ann Sizemore, taught forever on her whole career in Buncombe County schools. And one of the things that we requested, or her son and daughter-in-law requested, was when she passed away, was contributions for a bus to be renovated, Buncombe County school bus to be renovated. I mean, it's sort of like a library, you know, like the libraries used to be that went out in the community, but this has been done, and it's wrapped and it's beautiful, and it's flowing around Buncombe County right now. And what better way to get to the people who can't get to us? I mean, I think so often we're in our little world and they're in their little world and they can't always get in our world to get our services. So that, Adam, that made, I love what you said, what everybody said. That may be the most exciting thing I've heard so far.
Yeah, and we are pretty excited about it.
That's
To
great.
really give a, service that we don't currently, or, get our services to people who don't regularly have access.
That's the name of the game. Well, good.
Yeah, and as far as going forward, the next big item, like Allison mentioned, is asking for our big, capital projects, which are, the large ticket items. For this year, the only one we have ongoing is our we're just discussing the plan. The master plan, yes. So we're just now hired that new principal programmer, and there we'll be working on that master plan to develop, our plan going forward as far as what our other big requests will be in the future. So when we had that downtime, when we didn't have a director intro, the one thing we wanted was, let's make sure we get a master plan in place so that we get all of it. So right now for this year, a lot of our requests are more infrastructure related, that we're working with general services to update some of our buildings that have that need updating, and requests for new playgrounds in areas where their use date has expired. But then going forward this year, we'll have our new position, our new planner, and our new master plan being developed. So when we request next year, we'll have a lot more exciting new things, not just infrastructure, not just the outreach.
Just infrastructure. So
It is important. It is important. That's why, even though we don't have the master plan developed now, it's still important that we, get to work on fixing a lot of that stuff. Because there's some items that without a master plan, we just don't address. So that is, that is, our next big step. And then we'll have a couple months of reprieve while, we develop our just, regular day-to-day, office supply budget and stuff like that. And that's, so a lot of the exciting things are happening right now. already happening. So the rest of it is just, meticulous
keep it running.
details to keep running. Exactly.
What's the timetable for the master plan? Like, I know you're going out for bids and then get it. I mean, how long period are you talking about?
Well, that will kind of depend, because we haven't, we've requested the money to start that this year. And we've been waiting for our new position to begin, because that's going to be their first big task, is let's develop a master plan. So we don't have the timeline just yet, because they're first, when they walk in the door, it'll be, that's what we're going to start working on then. We'll be, reaching out, putting it out to bid. So it will be a couple months. I don't see it.
Master plans for a department of our size take 12 to 18 months, depending. So like the full scope of the master plan, because we'll be reaching out to stakeholders, we'll be reaching back out to the board, we'll go to commission as well. And so the entire process is 12 to 18 months.
That's what he's trying.
We usually
That's a long
fall.
time.
It is a long time. It does take a long time. We usually we shoot for no more than 18 months is the way that we will work with it.
Will that position be a contract position or is that an ongoing position?
That's a contract that we'll do. Yeah, we'll hire a company that comes in and works with our principal planner and the rest of staff to outline the scope of what we're looking at as a department, and then to come up with a community engagement plan and to assess the properties that we currently have. And actually they'll assess recreation throughout the county as a whole to see where those recreation deserts or gaps in service are. And then we'll target those areas.
It's all pretty exciting. Yes. Great. Adam,
Just one last update, I would say, as far as this year's budget goes, we are on target as far as our spending is, and just recently gotten a purchase order through for, we've gotten a quote in for our biggest project of the year, which is a new playground out at King Creek. So that is, we have just put the
those
purchase
of
order
us who
in.
live in the Cane Creek Valley, love that. That's great. It's amazing the cars that are at Cane Creek Middle School, at the pool, people along the highway, jumping the fence to get into to play tennis. And that that playground. It is swamped, and it's great. Wonderful. The parents out there love that. I'm gonna tell them you did it. Oh, well, oh, there you are. Oh, y'all are just much too serious. Much too serious. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Thank you, Adam. Mr. Stanley, thank you, sir. Okay, new project or current projects. Ms. Lynn, I see you have 4 or 5, and then we're gonna go to Mr. Stanley and, yep, Matt.
He's not here today, but Mac's gonna take over
He
his
can,
part
can
too,
do
so
it.
he's got a big
he can do it.
section.
So we just turn it over to you all.
Okay,
This pretty young lady has to take her son to the dentist. So great to see you.
Thank you for being. here.
Apologies for having to leave
No,
early.
appreciate it.
We
Thank you
didn't
for
make her
being
mad. She's not leaving mad. She's going to the dentist.
Yeah, nothing fun. I wish I was going shopping.
Appreciate you.
Great.
Thanks,
see you.
everyone.
all right,
you.
thanks, Lena, it's good to see you.
Take care.
Well, I'll go ahead and start with our sports park turf project. As Alice Carol mentioned, I don't know if you came down Smoky Park Highway and looked over, you can see the bright green synthetic turf that's already on one of the fields that's being turfed, and they're steadily working on the other 2 fields. Getting those ready. Hopefully we've got an ending date in sight. The end of December, I think at this point is the best target date that, for the total completion of the turfing project. So when that's finished, we'll have a big ribbon cutting in sometime in January, and we'll invite all of y'all to be there to attend. Kick soccer ball on the brand new fields. It's turned into a really nice project. So we're happy with that. We've also got a paving project that's actually being done through our general services department, but they will be repaving the drive down through the sports park and parking areas at the sports park as well. So in addition to the nice new turf field, there's gonna be nice new asphalt out there as well. So it's all gonna be all new, bright, and shiny by the, that's probably not gonna take place till spring. They'll wait till the weather gets better again for paving. So look for that to happen. And I hate that Lena had to leave. In addition to that paving project, Hominy Valley Park is gonna see a little bit of new paving. Their basketball courts are gonna be redone, and there's a section of parking behind the basketball courts. It's currently gravel, and that's gonna be paved. And that'll be an additional 25 parking spaces striped there. So that's really gonna be great, because that's never been paved. So that's nice. I'm gonna skip to the restroom at the sports park since we're talking about that first, but if you have a chance sometime, pull in the entrance to the sports park and look to your left at the very first parking area at the top of the hill. There's a new restroom building there. It's not fully operational yet. We're waiting on a few more connections from Duke Energy and MSD, but it's like the premier bathroom. It's the model that we're gonna start replacing restrooms at our other parks with. It was a prefab building, and it's really nice. It's really nice, but you'll be surprised that it's prefab when you look at it. So it's really nice. So that's out there. If you have a chance to stop by and see it. My other update is on our Inca Greenway and Trails for the Inca Recreation Destination that'll go across old BASF property. It's still in engineering and design, still doing some additional soil tests to get all of that stuff in order to make sure it's safe and fun at the same time. So that's.
And it's funded?
It is funded, yes, fully funded, yes, it's funded. That was part of the whole TDA grant that we got, that was part of the Inca Recreation Destination. So that's all in place. Yeah, and in addition to some funds. Yeah, so we're It's like everything else, patience, you know.
Is there a
It's just
forecasted finish date on that or?
2025.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still a ways out, but, you know, just gotta make sure all the i's are dotted, t's are crossed, everything's in place out there. But yeah, it's still moving along. Seems like it's creeping, but it's moving.
Everything does.
But it is moving, yeah, it is happening. So that's, you know, that's a great.
Like cuts through.
Yeah, for sure.
Every day there's another.
Mixed with molasses.
That's all I have.
It's fun.
All right.
Okay. Tell us all
Got
about
a
it.
couple
Joanne.
stuff on here. So we'll start with Bunker County Sports Park Management Contract. If you didn't know, we sent out an RFP for management of the fields at Bunker County Sports Park. We actually awarded that contract to ABYSA. And we are currently in contract negotiations, I guess you could say, with them. So hopefully, don't really have a big timeline on that, but hopefully soon we'll get that contract done and get that in place. Next, the Woodfin Greenway update. So last month we held an open house, which some of you were able to attend. And it was a great open house. We had like 60 people come and listen to a great presentation. So that all went well. It's still moving along, just like Lynn said, patience with everything. But it's moving, definitely. And then next is Special Olympics. So I have been, I guess, appointed. I don't really like using that word, but I have been chosen.
You
as
have
the
the
new-
honor.
I have the honor of being the new local coordinator for our Special Olympics here in Buncombe County. So I'm
And
really,
lucky they are there.
yeah, I know, right? Well, I don't know. Let's not say that yet. Let's not say that yet. So really diving into that role this month. We met with, Lynn and I met with TC Robertson last week to nail down the date for our big Special Olympics Spring Games. This is going to be on May 4th, 2023. It's a huge day. A lot goes into that. So super fun. And then,
You went to state training.
oh yes, I did go to state training. I forgot to put that on there. Went to state training a month or two ago, and that was great. Got to meet local representatives from our surrounding counties and linking up with them. I'm actually going to the Haywood County Committee meeting next week to kind of sit in and see how they do things out there, which brings me to the next thing that we will be looking to form a Special Olympics Committee. So if you have any questions about that, please ask me. It's still in the preliminary stages. So, yeah. And then leading that into Festival of Lights. Festival of Lights is a big fundraiser for Special Olympics. 20% of all the profit from Festival of Lights goes into the Special Olympics program here. So, tell everybody you can about Festival of Lights. It's super fun. So, Festival of Lights. We're doing 2 public walkthroughs this year, and that's going to be on December 2nd and 3rd. And that's just a night where we open up the park to visitors, no cars allowed. People can come in and enjoy the lights, walking around the park. We'll have activities, some food trucks there, photo opportunities. And then the drive-throughs will start on December 4th, and those will run nightly from 6 to 9. It's $10 for a just personal vehicle, and then $25 for like big vans, and then $50 for like tour buses. So, and we get a lot of tour buses, actually. So, setup is ongoing right now. We had our general services grounds crew out there 2 weeks ago, the first week in November, helping us put up all our big light displays. So all those are up. They're working on wrapping trees and putting up light strands, putting up smaller displays. So hopefully they're not out working today because it's treacherous, not treacherous, but But that'll be ongoing until Thanksgiving, and then we'll hit the ground running that week after Thanksgiving and get geared up for the winter. So, we would love for anyone who wants to come out and volunteer with us. It's fun. It's cold sometimes, but we have a building. So, but it's fun to see people come through, smiling faces. A lot of people look forward to this every year. It's like their family tradition that they've been doing for years. So, yeah. Wi-Fi at Lake Julian, do you want me to speak about that one?
Yeah, just tell them that about the public.
So there is public Wi-Fi at Lake Julian now. There hasn't been a huge announcement about it yet, but because we're still like working out little kinks there, here and there. But that should be coming hopefully soon. And then other programs and projects at Lake Julian, just Festival of Lights setup really is what we're focused on right now, so.
I was just gonna say, it's probably the only department in Buncombe County that has to have all their Christmas shopping done by Thanksgiving. Because they ain't got no time in December to go out and do the shopping. I mean, serious business. I mean, it's an every evening thing for them once the festival starts. So I think, get that in your brain and just think what these young people, they are young, just think what they commit to. It's really quite amazing.
And I want to say that they're very excited about it as well. Like, I want to say that the staff, they get so, like, you have the premier pieces that are out there, but then the exciting part is when they get to like add the little touches in between and they get very excited about it. And so it really is a neat atmosphere.
It is, isn't it?
And there should be a great employee spotlight article. I think it'll be posted on the county government website, hopefully today or later this week. So that kind of just talks about what goes into doing that, the whole crew that's out there setting up the lights, and the joy in setting up those lights is really felt through that article. So.
And we also need to think about the fact that so many of the people who are on this staff have been highlighted as employees of the week or month or whatever in Buncombe County. I mean, it's really outstanding when you read about the ones we know and love. Seriously, it's a small department, but they're fighters and they're out there every day working, and they're going to get some help. And so this staff thing, adding to this staff is just really the best news you could hear. It's very exciting. And I want you also to kind of think about the current projects Lynn talked about, what Max talked about, what Allison has shared with you, and the budget requests that they put in. It's not covering just one part of the county. I mean, we're going from Hominy Valley out to Owen Park, which was so smart to have the entire county staff out to Owen Park for a picnic. Some of them never been there. To Owen Park, to Hominy Valley, to all the different places.
Barnersville too, I think we were out there as well.
Yeah.
Barnersville.
I mean, it's just,
We're a big county.
yeah, it's really amazing, and we get that rolling thing going. We're gonna be spot on. It's pretty exciting stuff. I'm excited. We also need to be excited, maybe just elated about the fact that the 2 bonds passed. I'm sure you're aware of those. And I'm sure there were 2 big yes votes on the ballots that all of you cast. I just figured my buttons. But the one, we're interested in both of them, the housing situation, which we know is a unbelievable project, unbelievable situation here in the county in which we know and love. But also the open land project. And I'm going to read what was on the ballot so you kind of remember what you voted for. I know you can probably quote it, but here it is. That the bond shall, okay. The order authorizing $30 million in bond to pay the capital costs of acquisition and improvement of lands or interests therein for conservation and protection of natural resources and preservation of farmland, including but not limited to the development of greenways, trails for recreation purposes, and providing that additional taxes may be levied in an amount sufficient to pay the principal of and interest on the bonds approved. That's what we voted on. Now it comes to the point that this vote is gonna has some legs on it. You're gonna see things happen in Buncombe County. But the thing that we are going to take a vote today to join the Ag Advisory Board and being people that they call in for our opinion about how this bond money is spent. So if we could have a motion from someone in this group
For the recreation lands, for the passive recreation lands,
for the Parks and Recreation lands,
passive recreation.
the passive recreation lands.
Okay, so are you asking for like,
Right.
to say we would like to be a part of this?
The committee to
They're
review
asking-
projects, the committee to
Committee,
review
okay.
projects as it relates to the bond for open space.
Is that your motion?
Yes.
That's your motion. Second, you second that motion. Is there any discussion about that motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Amen. And that is, and really, that's quite an honor, y'all. That's really quite an honor that they are asking us to be a part of decisions that are made.
And so the way that that will work, so what will happen is as we start moving forward and we start looking and assessing projects, criteria are going to be set to evaluate projects. And once that criteria is set, there'll be a scoring that'll take place. We'll work in conjunction with the Ag Advisory Board as well to evaluate projects specifically for the passive recreation lands. And so we'll be coming back to you all with more information about that criteria. And we'll be sure that we're checking in with you all to help evaluate those, and then we'll prioritize, and that's how projects specifically for that piece will be chosen, as well as community outreach. And so we will also come back to you all for greenways specifically as well, and projects that are potential. We already know that we are looking to complete the Enka and Woodfin greenways to have those fully funded. And so we'll evaluate what is left from that and again, come back with criteria for another projects depending on the amount of money and the time limit. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm just trying to clarify. And thank you for helping me with that.
Got it.
So I think I read that there are like professional people that are going to be on a oversight board, like 5 or 6.
Yeah, there's gonna be like a community advisory.
But that will be part of looking at both bonds.
Yes.
And then how would we as a group interact with those people, or do we?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, not necessarily, maybe making recommendations for things moving forward, and then it'll go up through that board. So it's not necessarily that you won't be a part of that board, you are.
No, I didn't think we would.
Yeah, and so it'll be more of making a recommendation, so it'll be more of staff going to them saying that the Recreation Advisory Board and Agriculture Boards got together to evaluate these projects, and here are the recommendations that they have, and then they'll just do that final review and vote for them.
It's sort of a tiered thing, like those, our 2 boards are here, and then it goes from us to the next board, and then once that's passed, then there's someone, a board that's going to be appointed by the commissioners that is going to take a total look at how the money is spent, and that it is an open
Right.
process, no questions asked. Is that okay? Say.
So the agricultural board, agricultural advisory board and the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, are we part of, are there more than this that will be? I mean, I'm not talking about the affordable housing, but just for the open space. Or are we the only 2 boards that will be sending up opinions?
No, well, there's different components to open space. There's a conservation portion of it, and that'll go through the Ag Advisory Board as well as LCAP. And so they'll make recommendations for that. And then when it comes to greenways, that will be the Recreation Advisory Board with public input as well. And then it's really the passive recreation lands that we're specifically talking about. So those lands to be minimally developed, to preserve and have added benefit for passive recreation, such as hiking, bird watching, those types of things. And so that's where we'll come together to assess those projects that come through.
Thank you.
And again, we'll set criteria.
Now,
Again,
now's the time to ask.
we'll set criteria. That criteria will go to commission to have their final approval, and then that's when we'll come back with to you all. And we'll probably do a training on here's what the criteria is, here's the way that it works, and we'll ask additional questions at that time.
Well, I think that's exciting that we
Yeah, I
can be
think-
part of that.
Absolutely. Very exciting. Any other questions about that? Young people here who can answer. Great. So very, very exciting. Update on Pack Square Visioning Project. I bet you didn't even know there was a Pack Square Visioning Project, did you? I didn't either, but there is.
Some of the art installation.
You know where Pack Square, you know what we're talking, you know where the monument, the Vance Monument was? That's Pack Square. This is Pack Square Visioning Project. There are 13 people who have been asked to serve on an advisory board to that. The city of Asheville has asked that Parks and Recreation designate someone to serve on that board, and Allison has asked me to do that, and I have said that I would be more than happy to. We have had one Zoom meeting with the consultant, which was very well done. And there I have received information just today, Lynn, that I think talks about public engagement, that I know these people on this advisory board will be interested in knowing when this public engagement is. I was not able to print it on my little iPad on my little printer at home. So I'm going to ask Lynn to print it or to send it to each one of our members to, and Allison and I've talked about this at length. My job is to find out what this group wants and to come to you and ask your opinion. It's not my opinion, it's the opinion of this board as to how I represent this board on this visioning project. Does not only encompass the actual area where the Vance Monument was, but also what's called the block. You all are aware of when I say block, what I'm talking about. Not City County Plaza, not what I call the front porch of the City Hall and the courthouse, not that, but down the block that has had a lot of interest in renovation and different things that have been happening down.
Are you talking about where the Vance Monument was?
Where the Vance Monument was, that actual spot.
So then are you also looking at what goes on that pedestal?
That would be a good question that I'd like to ask. Probably, yeah, that whole area, what happens there? That was a smart answer, and I didn't mean it to be.
Because that pedestal may or may not stay there.
No, okay, may not stay. I mean, I think there's not a person in here who doesn't have an opinion about that. So I may ask you one day. But I'm representing you, and I'm happy to do it. And I'm going to ask Lynn to just send this to you and ask you to share it. Any questions that any of us here might be able to ask about that? I think what you see from this meeting today, y'all, is reaching out in every area to get as many opinions as we can as to what happens in Buncombe County and Parks and Rec. And I love it. I sweat on it. Any of our dedicated staff or advisory board members have anything to bring them? Oh, let me ask you like this time of day to meet? I do.
I do.
We get lunch out of it.
Does it?
That was wonderful. Thank you for that.
I mean, is
Yeah, this works for me.
does it work for everybody? Okay.
We can assess as well if it becomes a challenge for folks. We can assess what we need to do because we want everybody to be able to participate.
Sure.
And even if we need to offer through Zoom, if this winds up working great, if it winds up being a challenge for folks, we can have conversation outside of this to assess what we need to do. Because maybe we do this for a while and as it continues being good, we'll follow. And if we need to change at some other time, we can assess that.
So we're normally looking at the second Tuesday, not, because this is
Yes,
the third.
the reason we
Tuesday
did this
today.
was because of. COVID.
Yeah, we had that
Yes.
election last week.
Yes.
That's right.
I may have missed the response on extending our terms, and I would be happy to stay on board. I don't know if I replied to that.
Yes.
Sorry, I missed it.
Yeah, I don't think, you may not have.
I
We have to
don't
go
think I did.
online and reapply.
Yeah, okay.
We can go online and answer all those
Yeah.
questions.
And so we can help get you set up for what needs to happen.
I don't know. I know, I didn't find my own, I thought my word went off.
It's hard to, it's not.
So yeah, so thank you for those of you who did, and if you haven't yet, yeah, Lynn will work with you to
Thank
make
you.
sure that you can get that through. And then we'll work to get those other positions, and then we'll bring it forward again to commission. in,
So we have to be voted on again by the county.
Correct.
Well, it's been fun. It has. Lynn, I appreciate the lunch. I know you worked on one at It's delicious.
Yeah. And again, I just really do want to thank you. This is, we really want to get into the routine of a regular meeting and really getting feedback from you. I know there was a lot of updates. And we're really looking forward to preemptively bringing things to you so that you do have, kind of can give us some direction and guidance, and we'll have opportunities for you all, again, to vote and push projects forward that we're thinking about, and to give ideas that you have for things that you think would help benefit Buncombe County from what you hear and how you interact in our community. So I really appreciate your patience with being a part of this, and as we reinvigorate, I think there's a lot of exciting things to come. So appreciate every one of you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very exciting. Your motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Very good, very good. All in favor, out the door.
Thank you, y'all.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Enjoyed
you.
it.
Is
Thank you,
Colton's
thank you.
position starting in January?
No, it starts now.
Yeah, and he has started.
You may, if you're ever down at
I mean,
Valley.
I'm always down there.
Maybe the next time we'll